Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode what companies are really saying so you don't have to. Today we're cracking open a report from American Clean Resources Group Inc. And let's just say things are getting a little bit fractional. Stick around to see what that means for their future. Alright, so we have American Clean Resources Group, or ACRG for short. This report, a Form 8K, typically signals a significant event for a company, and boy did this one deliver. They announced some new appointments, and the way they're describing these roles is pretty unique. Before we dive into the new hires, let's quickly touch on what ACRG is all about. They're a company whose stock you can trade, and their stock symbol is ACRG. It's traded over the counter, which means it's not on the big fancy stock exchanges like the NYSE, but it's still a way for people to buy and sell shares of the company. Now let's get to the main event. ACRG has brought on 3 fractional executive officers. What does fractional mean in corporate speak? Think of it like hiring a part-time executive. Instead of a full-time commitment, these leaders will likely work on specific projects or for a set amount of time bring in their expertise without being a permanent full-time employee. It's a way for companies, especially growing ones, to access top talent on a more flexible basis. First up is Michael Robe, stepping in as Chief Operating Officer. Mike's got some serious credentials. He spent over 20 years working with big names like Leidos, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Ryder. At Leidos, he was a vice president and led their climate, energy, and environment division. He was in charge of energy research, protecting the environment, and planning climate actions. He even managed US operations in Antarctica, which sounds like a pretty epic gig. The report highlights that he's led large global programs and made complex supply chains work better, delivering results for government and commercial clients. Having someone with experience in energy and environmental sectors is pretty key for a company called American Clean Resources Group, right? This suggests they're serious about developing their strategies in these areas and need skilled leadership to execute them. Next, we have C. Derek Campbell joining as Chief Strategy Officer, also on a fractional basis. Derek brings a wealth of experience across energy, natural resources, infrastructure, and even security and defense. He's currently the Executive Chairman for LVC Global Holdings and Alpha Sierra One, and an Executive Director at Seneca Commodities Zambia. Before diving into the corporate world, he had a distinguished career as a retired US Marine Corps Reserve Colonel with service in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, and South Sudan. His military background likely means he's got a strong handle on governance, optimizing assets, expanding internationally, and managing risks in critical situations. This combination of corporate and military experience, especially in strategy and risk management, seems designed his CRG through complex markets and international opportunities. And rounding out the new fractional team is Kelly Marshall, taking on the role of Chief Marketing Officer. Kelly has more than 20 years of experience building brands and driving demand in tough markets. She spent the last 7 years working directly for energy companies as their Chief Marketing Officer. Before that, she founded her own marketing company, Marshall Creative LLC, and even sold a product company. Her agency experience includes being a creative director. Having someone with deep experience in marketing, particularly within the energy sector, is crucial for any company looking to grow its market presence and communicate its value proposition effectively to customers and investors. A Chief Marketing Officer in Forvat, she founded her own marketing company, Marshall Creative LLC, and even sold a product company. Her agency experience includes being a creative director. Having someone with deep experience in marketing, particularly within the energy sector, is crucial for any company looking to grow its market presence and communicate its value proposition. So why fractional executives? For a company like ACRG, this strategy often means they are looking to hire specialized skills for specific growth phases without the long-term financial commitment of a full-time executive. It's a smart move to get top-tier talent to help drive their energy, industrial, and commercialization plans forward efficiently. It allows them to be agile and bring in exactly the expertise they need when they need it, optimizing their resources. Now, as with most of these filings, there's a crucial section on forward-looking statements. This part is like a disclaimer saying that any statements about the future that aren't based on past facts are essentially educated guesses. They use words like X, anticipates, and plans. The company is saying that while they believe their expectations are based on reasonable assumptions, there are always uncertainties and risks that could cause actual results to be very different from what they predict. It's important for investors to understand that these future-looking statements are not promises, but rather predictions based on current information and optimism and actual outcomes can vary significantly. ACRG also clearly states they don't have a duty to update these forward-looking statements if things change, which is a pretty standard but important point to remember. Looking at the exhibits, we see this report is accompanied by a press release dated August 18, 2025. This press release is likely where the detailed announcements about these new fractional executives would have first appeared, giving the public and investors the initial splash of news about these strategic hires. Finally, we have the signature section. Tawana Bain, the Chief Executive Officer, has signed off on this report on August 22, 2025. This formal signature signifies that the CEO has reviewed and approved the information contained within the filing, attesting to its accuracy to the best of their knowledge. Alright, let's break down what this tells us about American Clean Resources Group. The appointment of these fractional executives, especially in key roles like COO, CSO, and CMO, suggests a company that's in a growth or restructuring phase. Hiring fractional talent can be a cost-effective way to bring in high-level expertise without the commitment of full-time salaries and benefits. This is particularly common for smaller or rapidly expanding businesses that need specialized skills but want to maintain financial flexibility. The backgrounds of Rabe Campbell and Marshall are impressive and align well with a focus on clean energy, strategic development, and market penetration. However, it also signals that perhaps the company isn't yet at a stage where it can afford or needs full-time executives in these positions, or they are looking for very specific project-based expertise. The lack of detailed financial tables in this particular 8K filing means we can't direct executive at 8K filing, means we can't directly assess their current financial health based solely on this report, but these strategic hires are definitely. So what's my take on all this? American Clean Resources Group seems to be making smart, strategic moves to build out its leadership team for a focused push into the energy sector. The fractional executive model is interesting and signals a pragmatic approach to talent acquisition, allowing them to bring in seasoned professionals without overextending their resources. The caliber of these new hires is undeniably high, suggesting a serious intent to advance their roadmap. The key risks for ACRG will likely involve the effective integration of these fractional roles and ensuring clear communication and direction across the team. They'll need to make sure these part-time leaders can drive significant impact. An opportunity lies in their ability to leverage this flexible talent pool to adapt quickly to market changes in the dynamic clean energy industry. If they can successfully execute on their strategy with this leadership structure, they could carve out a significant niche. However, without the financial details in this report, it's hard to gauge their overall financial stability and capacity to fund these initiatives long term. What do you think about this fractional executive strategy for a company like ACRG? Does it signal agility or a lack of full commitment? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more corporate insights. Also, make sure you join our Discord channel linked in the description for more discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next decoding.